You're watching ABC4 News.
Welcome back. With the new year approaching in just 6 days, ABC4's Craig Wirth takes us all the way back to 1948 when our station hosted a live New Year's Eve party from the studio. It's tonight's Worth Watching.
Well, in the 1940s, people had no trouble finding a way to bring in the new year, as in these photos from the Hotel Utah. Nor did they have any trouble finding hats, or noisemakers, or places to dance, or food to eat. The only trouble was finding a place on the table to put your food. At least you had a place for your hat on your head. But on December 31st, 1948, Utahns found a new tradition never done here before. It was spending New Year's Eve watching television shows all about New Year's Eve, a tradition that is now a common way to welcome in the new year.
Wish nobody can deny.
Hey, Mal, not my ear. Gee,
Where's Jack? Where's Jack? I want to wish him a Happy New Year.
Now we know Utah had New Year's shows from the network by the 1950s, but not in 1948. It was up to Channel 4 to put on the first New Year's TV show ever in Utah.
Oh, but back then, Channel 4 pulled out all the stops for New Year's. In fact, there was a live New Year's Eve party from the studio. It was for the end of 1948 and the beginning of 1949.
Those lucky enough to have had television could see a party that lasted half the night, all in their TV set, all in their living room. Yes, folks in the studio, hang on to your hats. This was the big show. For who's in town? It was party time in town. The audience got their party hats, and a few people got champagne. It was probably 1,000,000 degrees under the hot lights. And it was a show unlike Salt Lake had ever seen on TV. It all took place in the studio, located in what is now City Creek, above the old post office on Regent. Channel 4 music director Maestro Eugene Jelesnik played with the Channel 4 band. And it was magic. Yes, a magician right there in your living room party. The clocks got closer to midnight. The MC started the countdown. It would be a tradition of watching TV New Year's shows that we still observe. And the old spirit of 1948 was about to turn the year over to a little kid of 1949 right in front of you on Channel 4. The control room had it timed perfectly. Even the person on the lights had them following the action. And at 5 minutes to midnight, the dancers were ready. Maestro Jelesnik was playing, and midnight came. But hey, don't go to bed. However, on a side note, it is classy when your pajamas match the drapes. Anyway, folks spent the night with Channel 4 because the dancing was just starting, and oh my goodness, that was entertainment. Your finest entertainment indeed. And a few hours later, it was 1949. Craig Wirth, ABC4 News.
Well, that was years and years before Prince, but that night people were partying like it was 1949. Thomas,
so cool to see that.
Now 73 years later, and we've got a storm on the way.
Yeah, and we're going to see stormy weather more or less take us through the New Year's Day weekend. But the first storm actually arrives tomorrow. And because of it, the National Weather Service has already gone ahead and issued winter weather advisories for all of our mountains of the Wasatch Plateau, Book Cliffs, and southwestern Wyoming. This begins tomorrow and will carry through 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. 12 to 18 inches of snow for our mountains, so heavy mountain snow. Could see higher amounts in areas like the Cottonwood Canyons, where we might see more than 2 feet of snow. Southwestern Wyoming, between 3 and 7 inches of snow. I wouldn't be surprised if the Wasatch Back gets included in this. And also going to see some pretty gusty winds around 45 miles per hour. In the meantime, things are relatively calm. Got high pressure moving down to our southeast, but you can see our next storm system now moving into California. And with that southerly flow that we have and temperatures above seasonal averages, tomorrow we're going to see valley rain and mountain snow, but we'll get into all the details in just a moment. In the meantime, not going to see many issues tonight. St. George looking very nice, looking at the silhouette of the Red Rock. 44 degrees, definitely want at least an extra layer as you head out the door, and that'll be the case tomorrow morning as well. But we'll just go ahead and just enjoy this view from Snow Basin looking towards Mount Ogden. Absolutely picturesque. You can actually see the stars twinkling in the distance. In Brigham City, we're sitting at 28 degrees. Park City's at 40, while Salt Lake City's at 35. You can tell we still have the inversions around. 29 degrees in Provo and 43 degrees in St. George. And those overnight lows tonight not going to drop too much more compared to what we're seeing out there right now. And then those daytime highs tomorrow, similar compared to what we saw this afternoon, thanks to that southerly flow continuing. But you can see all these icons here. We're going to see moisture move in from the west, and that moisture is going to spread across the state as we go from the morning into the afternoon. Let's go ahead and time things out for you here on the Futurecast. And as we go through tonight, again, things relatively calm, but that moisture does start by tomorrow morning, at least in northeast Nevada. And this Futurecast is a little bit optimistic, thinking that we even could see some valley rain and mountain snow in northern Utah by the tail end of the morning commute. But from the morning into the afternoon, that's really when you see that spread across the Beehive State, valley rain, mountain snow, with it being likely from the late afternoon through the nighttime hours. Then the colder air finally starts to move in. But the big question of whether or not we're going to see snow along the Wasatch Front won't be just how cold it gets. It will be dependent on whether or not the moisture holds on long enough. So that moisture will start to dwindle as we go from Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night, even though the colder air will be in place. So got a lot of question marks when it comes to whether or not we're going to see snow down to our valley floors, but our mountains definitely going to see plenty of snow, and this is kind of a good representation of that on the Futurecast precipitation. Valley rain, mountain snow through Tuesday evening, but then you can see that snow line kind of dropping just a little bit with more spots picking up snow going into our Wednesday. As for St. George, the chance for wet weather will increase from the afternoon into the nighttime hours with a pretty decent chance, especially by Wednesday morning. Daytime highs come down from the low 60s tomorrow into the low 50s by our Wednesday and upper 40s for Thursday, and even keeping that chance for rain in the forecast into this upcoming weekend. And then along the Wasatch Front, rain tomorrow, the chance for rain and snow on Wednesday. A little bit calmer for our Thursday with temperatures near our seasonal averages. Then our next system arrives Friday, Saturday, and into New Year's Day on Sunday.
All right.